I'm Statman Dave, welcome to the Squawker YouTube channel. This video is about Manchester United's current transfer situation. There's rumours of players coming in and out of the club, but we are going to take a step back and look at the squad as a whole and see which position should be strengthened to benefit the club the most and which are the best players to bring in. I'm going to give you my opinion, so let me know yours in the comments below. We're very, very close to 100,000 subscribers. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do us a favour and hit that button below. If 10% of you watching this right now do it, we'll be straight to 100k. So looking at the current squad, Squawker have highlighted players that are rumoured to be leaving. We're going to take a look at a number of targets, identifying those holes. I think midfield is a really good area to start. So this is a midfield that we've seen for the majority of the season. A player that could be brought in from Lille, Boubacar Kamara, a player that would drop into a number 6 position for Manchester United. In terms of the player, he's a modern day number 6, a deep lying playmaker that's a bit of a box-to-box hybrid that can break forward on the ball, carrying it through that central zone. Will be suited for Manchester United's midfield and dribbling out of pressure, a player that can play forward but also back. To highlight his all-round game and his ability to be a modern-day deep-line playmaker, his game by numbers against Angers was fantastic. He had 100 touches of the ball, completed 89% of his passes, won all of his 4 tackles, completed 3 out of 3 of his dribbles, and had 2 key passes. Kind of shows and highlights what he is as a player. In terms of Premier League players right now that is quite reminiscent of, Ndombele at Spurs, another player that's very, very good at dribbling past that first line of pressure from that number 6 position and then carrying through the thirds for Manchester United. Next up, let's talk about someone from the Championship. The Championship has been a great place to recruit players. Calvin Phillips from Leeds could be the guy. Leeds fans have affectionately nicknamed him the Yorkshire Pirlo. He's a defensive midfielder that could sit and hold position. In Bielsa's side this season, he's played in the 4-1-4-1. The Englishman not only is a great ball winner, but he's capable of playing forward passes to great effect. This is evidenced by the fact that he's the only Leeds player and the only player in the Championship to average 3+ tackles and 3 key passes in the Championship this season. He's physical, dominant and very excellent in terms of his passing range. If you're looking at where he could play for Manchester United in the sort of 4-2-3-1, be in that defensive midfield zone where you could look to him to find those passes out to both Dan James and Marcus Rashford in behind those areas. Calvin Phillips is very, very good on the ball and be perfect for United if they're looking to pick open those low blocks. He's also proved that he can do it against Premier League opposition in the FA Cup this season for Leeds United against Arsenal. He won a mammoth 9 tackles and created 4 chances. What a performance from central midfield. Next up, we're going to look at a player that's consistently been linked to Manchester United in Koulibaly from Napoli. Koulibaly and Harry Maguire would be a perfect modern-day partnership in terms of both players are fantastic on the ball. The interesting side here as well is Koulibaly usually plays on the left-hand side of defence. That's where Maguire's been playing from that centre-back position. So we could see Maguire return to that right side and then look to hit the long switches out to the likes of Marcus Rashford or Brandon Williams pushing into the final third. For Koulibaly though, his ability on the ball is phenomenal. Great at carrying the ball out of the back into those central midfield areas and then looking to thread the passes through to one of the creative players. Koulibaly has been at the top of his game for a number of seasons now. His performances against the likes of Mbappe in the Champions League in recent years have been absolutely fantastic battles, but one that Koulibaly has really stepped up to. And for Manchester United, with Maguire next to him, that arguably is the best centre-half pairing in the Premier League if the transfer were to go through. Now let's move back to the Premier League and targets within the league that have been linked with Manchester United. Jack Grealish. What a footballer he is. The player for United that could play a number of positions within a number of systems and of course scored that wonderful goal at Old Trafford. He's a fantastic footballer but really rounded. Not only a really good technician carrying the ball through the centre of the pitch, he's excellent from open play. Only Kevin De Bruyne in the Premier League has created more chances from open play than Jack Grealish this season, but he also works exceedingly hard. Has regained possession 115 times in the Premier League this season, a number comparable to a number of top defensive midfielders like Sir Jordan Henderson and N'Golo Kante and Fernandinho. For United, Grealish could play in a number of roles and systems. We could in fact see the 4-3-3 return with Grealish dropping a little bit deeper in midfield. We could even see maybe a 4-2-4 shape with Grealish playing on that left-hand side. If you're looking at his numbers this season, his goals and assists, the majority have come when he's played left wing. Either in a 3-4-3, playing as the player that's sort of left as cheating up top to join the counter-attack, or in a 4-3-3, coming inside to that central area, moving and operating into the central zone to be the side's playmaker. A 10 from the outside, that moves into that central area to create. And we can see that for Manchester United with Rashford and Martial up top, feeding them with through balls could be absolutely perfect for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now we've got to talk about another one of the best creators in the Premier League in James Maddison. Player that's absolutely excelled since moving to Leicester City from Norwich City. That jump up from Championship level, Maddison has really moved forward. Since the start of last season, the Leicester City playmaker has created 150 chances in the Premier League. That is more than any other player. Not only is that from open play, but it's set pieces. Really, really good at delivering indirect and corners from those wide areas. He's a versatile player, capable of playing a number of positions in midfield. We've seen him in a 4-4-2 diamond this season, playing number 10 as a classic playmaker in those sort of central areas for United, if we imagine it to be nice and narrow. Could see it there, Maddison dropping deep, getting on the ball and looking to thread through to the players ahead of him. You know, a system that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer played at the start of his tenure, the 4-4-2 diamond, could be returned with someone like James Maddison in that number 10 position. Alternatively, with someone like Jack Grealish, it could be quite good looking in that central midfield pair. You're thinking Maddison plays a little bit closer towards the ball, whereas Grealish moves into that advanced area. That's kind of interesting side there that would be perfect for United. Win the build-up, you know, you're thinking Marcus Rashford's going to come inside, you think Brandon Williams is going to go on the overlap. Wan-Bissaka's probably going to be holding a little bit more, using his defensive work rate. Really, really good partnership and pairing in midfield as a classic 8 and 6, the playmakers. Think a little bit like Xavi and Iniesta. But if United were looking for another central midfielder that didn't actually play in the Premier League, we all know who's coming in next, and that is Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes would perfectly suit Manchester United in an attacking sense. Last season, he recorded a whopping 50 direct goal involvements in 52 games, and this season he's been directly involved in 26 goals in 24 appearances. Arguably, with someone like a Maddison, again, it'd be perfect. Fernandes' ability to break through the central area and combine with a centre forward and then run off him with 1-2s would be absolutely fantastic. But also, no Manchester United player scored more goals from outside the box than Fernandes last season. So you're thinking his threat, direct threat, when, you know, in sort of the number 10 space, when Man United attacking, will give them something else. Will give them a threat from range. Last season in the Liga NOS, Fernandes contributed to 6.8 shots per game, while this season it's 7.3, giving United something vitally important in terms of contributing to the creativity in that number 10 area. It would be perfect for beating those weaker sides, but also counter-attacking against the top teams. Fernandes really good at winning the ball back and then playing it forward. Last season in the League NOS, Bruno Fernandes won a surprising amount of tackles. If you compare it to Manchester United's players, only Aaron Wan-Bissaka made more per game this season. Interesting there that Fernandes would be perfect with someone like James Maddison to combine and press in that central midfield area. But one player that we shouldn't forget about, of course, although he's been injured for the majority of the season, is Paul Pogba. Imagine him combining with any of the players that we've mentioned previously. But for example, if Bruno Fernandes were to sign tomorrow, Pogba, Fernandes in central midfield would be absolutely filthy. You're thinking Paul Pogba loves to operate inside left. You think Bruno Fernandes loves to operate inside right. 2 free 8s for Manchester United could see some really dominant performances with, of course, Scott McTominay anchoring that midfield when he returns from injury as well. Be perfect for United. You're thinking Brandon Williams and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, arguably defensive fullbacks. So United's 5 attackers would be the 2 wide players, the 2 inside players that have moved from midfield, and of course Anthony Martial. That would be a disgusting midfield. So that's my view on some simple changes to Manchester United's transfer situation. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and make sure, if you're not already, to subscribe to the Squawker channel to get us to 100,000.